Alright, so there's a few things that I haven't heard talked about too much with this new YouTube debacle. So we've all heard about this new YouTube crackdown on borderline content and supremacist content. Now, YouTube says they've been planning this for a while. Maybe that's true, but it all seemed to happen when Carlos Maza, this guy from Vox, complained that Steven Crowder has been harassing him based off of how he identifies and the way he speaks. Now, first off, let me just say, of course, Steven Crowder has every right to say whatever he wants, and he shouldn't be demonetized or banned from YouTube, not that he has been banned, nor do I think YouTube should be allowed to ban him, as they are owned by Google and take taxpayer money in the form of subsidies. The moment you take money that was taken by force from taxpayers is the moment you lose the privileges of being a private business. If YouTube wasn't under the umbrella of Google, which is under the umbrella of Alphabet, and YouTube wasn't a part of an organization that takes stolen money from taxpayers, I would say they're allowed to do whatever they want, even if I disagree with it, but that's not the case. They've taken money that was extorted from the taxpayer. Once you do that, you should have to cease all forms of censorship. It is not a good precedent to set, to have government giving a business contracts or subsidies, and to have that same business censoring things. Not a good look and completely unacceptable. So I do completely understand the libertarian side of things, as I am a libertarian, that, hey, you're a private business, you get to do whatever you want. I'm 100% with that, except when you start getting in bed with government. Then the rules change for you. But back to Carlos Maza. Where did all of this really come from? It comes from the same place that you see many other leftists come from, a place that they are completely incapable of defending. Steven Crowder called him some silly, dumb names. Names that I would not have called him, or anyone by the way. It's just not my style. It doesn't do anything for me. I actually think you lose credibility when you use the names Crowder was calling him. People may giggle at it, but I guess I can only speak for myself. I think I would rather use names that are an actual portrayal of why they are wrong. Nobody's ever been wrong about anything because of their sexual orientation. No one's been incorrect or given a bad argument because of their race or if they have a lisp. I guess in my head I view how someone identifies and the arguments that they use as completely separate things. Now, I've called Bernie Sanders and AOC insane before, or I've said that they're out of their minds, but that's because I truly think that is an accurate, honest, and sincere description of how they think and why their arguments are wrong. I would never say, look at Bernie Sanders and his crazy hair, hasn't he ever seen a comb before? I would never say that because it's a terrible ad hominem non-argument, and Steven Crowder has done that before, and like I said, he has every right to say it, but it's just not my style. It doesn't vibe with me. But here's the thing, Carlos Maza, you went about this the dead wrong way. First off, Crowder did not get banned, but more importantly, Crowder's Mug Club, where he makes a good chunk of change, has skyrocketed with activity, and he's likely made a killing because of this. So this seemed to have horribly backfired on you. But more importantly, what should you have done? You should have at least tried what I just did. Show why Steven Crowder is in the wrong. Try and get on his show or have him come on your show and have a dialogue, have a conversation, have a debate. And before that debate takes place, sit down, focus your thoughts, become a laser-guided missile against his arguments and what he stands for, and figure out how to intellectually defeat him. If you manage to do that, even Steven Crowder's audience would respect you for it, I guarantee it. In fact, that's what happened with one of Steven Crowder's Change My Mind segments. Specifically, he was talking with a socialist student, and long story short, the socialist student knew enough to keep Steven Crowder on his toes, and people respected him for it. People said, hey, you know what, Crowder didn't do very well here. And if you, Carlos Maza, managed to do at least that, you would accomplish two things. Number one, you would have punctured a hole in his armor, and number two, you would have done so fairly, which would have prevented the groundswell of Mug Club support Crowder has recently got, thus not contributing to him making a bunch of money. People would have earnestly said, Carlos Maza actually did really well here. What's the other thing that could happen? You may lose the debate or not do so well. Well, guess what? I still see people praise other people they disagree with for losing a debate. And they praise them for simply showing up and having the spine to engage in that debate. It happens all the time from Steven Crowder supporters themselves. If there is a student who is at least not hysterical during those Change My Mind segments, you get people saying, well, you've at least got to respect them for having the dialogue, for having the spine to go up there and talk. But of course, Carlos Maza, you didn't do any of those things to my knowledge. You just went to YouTube and complained and petitioned to have him shut down. You wanted them to shut him up because he hurt your feelings. You get no points for something like that. You may get some retweets and supportive comments from people who are already your fans, but there is no long-term or sincere compliments that can really be made about you when you don't even have two intellectual legs to stand on. It's a bit like the tweet I sent out to Carlos Maza the other day. I said, okay, Steven Crowder called you names. Did he threaten or advocate physical harm to be done to you? Did he give out your home address? Did he give out your phone number? Did he advocate for you being doxxed? No, he didn't? Okay, then grow up. And you know, it's a funny thing, because I honestly forgot in this whole debacle that Carlos Maza is actually an adult. In age only, of course, because he is acting like an absolute immature sophomore entitled, helpless little child. And you see, that's an insult that I just made that makes sense in this context. Making fun of his lisp would not make any sense. Pointing out his spineless, childish nature, however, is all too relevant and accurate. But that's gotta be it for now. Like and subscribe, and you have a good one, my people.